Welcome back to the EPRS Chronicles in our series on care work. In episodes 1 and 2, we looked at paid and unpaid care work, how and why women end up doing the majority of it, its undervaluation both in society and across the labor market. In this final episode, we're going to examine why this gender imbalance has been perpetuated, as well as look at some ways in which we can have a more sustainable care work sector in the future. For this, I am joined once more by Mina Fernandez and Cecilia Navarra, both policy analysts at the EPRS. Welcome back, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Mina.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with you, Cecilia. I want you to tell us a little more about what you define as a vicious cycle in care work.
The vicious cycle is a tool that we use to understand the problem and connect the dots. So first of all, because women do the bulk of unpaid work, we have what we have called in the first episode the care penalty. Second, women on average earn less than men on the labor market, and therefore they are more likely to fall out of employment as soon as a care need appears in the household. Third, when these needs arise, quality professional care is often not accessible or not affordable, and this is because of a low investment approach that we have also discussed. So, and with care duties remaining in the household, as we have seen, they will fall overwhelmingly on women. So altogether, this vicious cycle is reinforcing gender inequalities and it's entrenching them in the economy.
Thank you. Mina, tell me what kind of policies could address this vicious cycle?
To address the vicious cycle, we need policies that can go to the root of the problem, and this is the undervaluation of care work. We need policies that are broad in addressing both paid and unpaid care work. We need policies that make care work visible and recognized in our society. Mm-hmm. We need policies that address the gender dimension, given that the vast majority of care providers are women. And most of all, we need policies that can change the mindset in society and the value that we attach to productive work, as well as the value we attach to reproductive work. There are 3 types of policies that can address the vicious cycle. First of all, are policies that promote the equal earner, equal carer model. And this can promote greater gender equality within the household as well as the labor market. There are also policies that promote investment in the professional care sector, which can boost employment, wages, and working conditions, which are currently poor, as was discussed in the previous episode of this series. And last of all, are policies that can promote better access and quality of care, whether it be paid or unpaid, and that can help to guarantee the autonomy and dignity of those being cared of.
And is there a role that the EU could have?
Yes, there is definitely a role. In fact, the EU could play a very key role in coordinating actions and investments. This is because care is a public good. The EU can promote upward harmonization across the member states to ensure that no one is left behind and all care needs are met. The potential gains are what we call European added value.
The European Commission presented its strategy on care work in September. Are there measures in it that would counter the vicious cycle?
Well, yes. The strategy is a good step in the right direction of addressing the vicious cycle. It presents a range of measures which fall into the 3 areas I mentioned before, and it clearly states the need for investment. At the same time, though, it's not mobilizing new additional funding for the sector, and the measures leave a lot of flexibility to the member states. And this means there's a limitation on the potential for upward harmonization, which is needed to generate the benefits. So based on our research, we would say that the strategy is an important step, but we need to move even further if we want to reverse the vicious cycle.
And speaking of moving further, has the European Parliament already presented its position?
Indeed, in July, the European Parliament adopted a resolution that called for ambitious EU action in the area of both paid care work as well as unpaid care work. With regards to paid care work, it calls for changes on working conditions, professional qualifications, and the role of the European Labour Authority. And with regards to unpaid care work, it calls for a range of measures that promote the recognition of unpaid care work and how to rebalance it between men and women within the household.
Thank you, Mina. Cecilia, just moving to you now. If the European Parliament's proposals are adopted, what would care work look like in the future across the EU?
Well, it could produce a shift from a low investment, low access model to a high access, high investment, high quality model. So a kind of a shift towards a modern sector that is people-centered, where by people we mean both recipients of care and carers and care workers themselves. So the view is that people who have care needs would see their needs met. Unpaid carers would have an actual choice between providing care at home or looking for care services. And care work would be more equally distributed within households. So in this approach, I would say that care is a right, so it would no longer be seen as a luxury that only the more affluent people can afford. And care work would be an attractive sector of employment, which is regulated and protects workers and guarantees good working conditions.
And how would these policy shifts impact society?
Well, indeed, yes, those policies would not impact only the care sectors, but the society in general too. First of all, because both care workers and those in need of care would lead more dignified and independent lives. And it would help put us all on a sustainable path, especially in the face of an aging population.
This sounds wonderful, but wouldn't it be quite expensive to make such a big transition?
Well, as we have seen in the first episode, there is a cost for not acting.
Yes.
So, to be exact, 240 billion euros per year, only speaking of unpaid care. We are actually used to thinking of greater investment on care only as a cost, but this is not the case. We are paying a cost by not investing enough in the care sector. I would cite an example. Research finds that investment in care can generate high benefits that more than repay themselves. So, for example, a study on Austria finds that every euro invested in long-term care produces 1.7 euros of added value. And if you calculate the benefits of EU actions in the three areas mentioned just before, it adds up to between 100 and 200 billion euros per year. That means that we all stand to gain from a bold and ambitious action on care sector, and that the EU could play actually a critical role.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mina.
Thank you.
This concludes our series on care work. If you would like to know more about how EU policy could positively impact society and the economy, please check out the EPRS website.